Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Converse with Clover. Today we have the amazing Jacintia. Jacintia, welcome to Converse with Clover. I am so happy to have you. Could you please tell the audience, the maybe listening, a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. So most people know me from my documentary Jacinta, and it basically followed me through um, like 3, 4 years of active addiction in and out of incarceration, parenting, also being incarcerated with my mom. It didn't get to capture much of the success after, but since the film, I've done some really great things with work and school and just society and community altogether has just like really wrapped around me.
Awesome. So I met Jacintia about 2 years ago in DC, and immediately I was just captivated by her story. It's just an awesome story, but also shows the grace of God, redemption, and how, when you go through certain things in life and you're struggling, how beautiful it is when you come out at the end and you have just such a powerful story, a story that can actually touch the lives of so many people. So let's get into the question. So where are you from and where did you grow up?
Okay, I'm from Portland, Maine, and I grew up in Portland, Lewiston, but in Maine, basically, in southern Maine.
Okay, awesome. And were you your parents, you close? Were you close to your parents?
Yeah, my mom struggled quite a bit throughout the years. She's in recovery now, but it was rough. My dad is amazing. He raised me and my two brothers. Um, and yeah, for the most part, we had our struggles and our challenges, but we were blessed with love.
Okay. So would you say that you were closer to your dad or your mom?
I'm probably closest to my brothers, both of my parents. I mean, I love them and they were great for their own reasons, but I feel like in the life of what we had to deal with, we found comfort in each other, as in like me and my siblings. Especially when, you have a parent that's incarcerated habitually. Your foundation, your stability tends to be insecure at times. And between my brothers and myself, we managed to always find a way to stick together. And, there was a lot of like chaos. There was a lot of like DHS and different things that were involved. And luckily, we were just never separated. And if we were, it wasn't for long and we were able to see each other. So um, we kind of had to like let our parents be on the outside so they could do what they could do. But I'm absolutely my best friend in the whole world is my little brother.
Okay. So were both of your parents incarcerated?
No, my mom was the only one incarcerated. Um, but my father, he's a functioning alcoholic. So he would go to work for 12, 13 hours a day and come home and drink. The weekends he raced and did stuff with his friends. So
Okay. I know that this is may not be an easy story to tell, it's your life and it's very painful. So I don't really want to bring up a lot of things that may trigger you, because I know, from my painful experience, there's times that I really don't want to talk about it. So I really don't want to really get too in depth with that. You did a documentary, Jacinta-Hope Cannot Be Confound. Could you tell us about that?
yes. So during my, I don't know, maybe my second or third incarceration, um, there was a Jessica Earnshaw was there. She's the producer of the film. She was doing a separate story on aging in prison, and she had met my mom. My mom kind of told her a little bit about the two of us and how we were serving time together, but for separate charges. Um, and she kind of asked if she could interview me. I was really reluctant in the beginning. And then as time went on, she continued to film through my release. She was able to really capture some of the gaps in services and me. I was incarcerated for, I don't know, just about a year at that point. And upon my release, I was 2 weeks out from release and I didn't have any type of reentry plan. I had no money, I had no job. I had a baby I'd been absent from for years, and I I got in contact with Jessica, or she actually got in contact with me. We were able to kind of build a quick reentry plan, and that's the plan was just to film that piece. And then um, through the grace of God, my story was able to um, you know, tell a truth that not many people get to see in a way that allows people to see that I wasn't a weak-willed individual, right? Like I don't lack character. I'm a great person.
That's
And I love life and I love people. And I was caught up in this demon that I couldn't escape. I love my daughter. I love my life. I love being alive. And I was just so caught up in all I had known was survival, survival, survival. And it's very hard to stay coherent and survive as a child. So I got mixed up in weed and alcohol and then crack. And I still, there's some fundamental things about me that I like to share. And that's even through, I used drugs through high school. Even through all of that, I was able to successfully get straight A's and graduate high school. And um, I feel like that so much of that was overshadowed because I was this, individual that was sick into drugs. And once I got to see my film done, I hadn't been released from prison yet. I went back on drug charges again. And once I was able to like see how I got sober, I got a job in the prison. I found something that meant to me. I found my education. I excelled in school. I really was able to see what I was capable of. And that's what the film did the most for me was it showed me that I had so much um, to offer the world. I had so many skills that I was ignoring through the years. There was just, it was a very beautiful display of what we go through day to day outside of, just chasing and using the drugs.
right, right. And so, the film, Jacintia, I saw all these awards, right? They won so many awards, but one thing about you, you are so humble. You are extremely humble with your story and just your life. And my God, if people could see more of how you have excelled, how you have totally turned your life around, that is amazing. It is amazing.
Thank you.
So proud. I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
Extremely, extremely proud of you. So I just want to just let you know that, if no one told you that, I'm sure others, but you probably didn't hear from me. Okay. So I'm letting you know I am extremely, I have been since we met 2 years ago in DC, I have just been watching everything that you have been doing and you have grown so much. I am super proud of you. Just want to let you know that.
Thank
There
you.
was something that when I was watching a documentary and you said, when you were an infant and you cry, you want your mom to pick you up to comfort you, right? When you were an infant and your mom cried, she picked you up for comfort.
Yeah. And I think that's where I get my empathy from, right? I'm so used to it was instilled from birth that, I'm a caretaker and I'm here to provide love and comfort. And for a long time, that took over my life. But I've learned to rechannel it and recondition myself to have boundaries and still be able to love very, very deep. And I truly think that my boundaries are the key to my success because I I know what it feels like to be alone and I know what it feels like to be going through a lot and to feel like there's nobody there. And for a very long time, I felt like I needed to consume all of those emotions for people that I loved. And I now know how to help people with their emotions rather than embodying them, right? So I can offer you guidance. I can be here for you. If you need some resources, if you need a friend, if you need a coffee, I can be here for you. But I I learned that I have to keep myself safe, and boundaries are truly important. Um, like I said, I love love, and I absolutely love to be around people who need love. I learned through boundaries how to love myself while loving other people so much as well.
Right. Well, I always say that, boundaries is not for others, it's for you,
Yeah.
It's a place to keep you safe, right? You know that you cannot allow others to cross those boundaries because if they cross those boundaries, what may happen, and then you're left alone to deal with whatever that comes after. So yeah, it's really, really great to have boundaries. Would you say that with all the addiction, prison actually saved you?
Um, no, I think the prison absolutely gave me access to opportunities that I was able to use to better my situation. But I think what saved me is when I first got these charges, my last charges, I was caught with, probably I think in total like 500 grams of drugs, and a gun. And I called Kaylin, which is my daughter, and that I was really just calling her to try to salvage any type of relationship I might still have with her after reoffending and being away again. And she had made a statement to me. Actually, it was a question. She said, Mom, it's been your way for 11 years. When you get out of there, can it be my turn?
Oh,
And I said yes. And the truth is, Clover, is I just said yes because that was the motherly thing to do, right? Like I didn't actually think I was going to be able to be any type of mother. I had tried so many different ways for so long that I instinctively wanted to please her and said yes. And through the grace of God, um, I was able to really spend some time to think about that promise. And I had made one other promise to Kaylin, and it was the day that she left me. And she was 3.5. And I said, Kaylin, I'll always come back for you. And then here we are. She's 18, and I have a great relationship with her now, and I get to see her. Um, I haven't been able to wake up and send her to the bus, right? I haven't been able to watch her grow with her friends, right? Like I've only seen Kaylin, and that is that's what saved me, that knowing that my daughter had everything she needed to possess in life.
mhm.
And that meant she was strong, she was educated, she had morals, she believed in herself, she had faith in God. And um, I wanted to I wanted to be all that she deserved in a mother. And that took a lot of getting to know me. That took a lot of exploring in different worlds. It took a lot of um, arguing, right? Like there was times I came back, Caitlin was 15, I've been gone her whole life, and here I am saying, can't go out after 9. Who am I to say that, right? So um, my daughter saved my life. My daughter gave me the will to save my life.
Wow. Wow. That is beautiful. That's really, really beautiful. As I watch the documentary, one thing I will say is that the consistency of your love is shown throughout the entire documentary. You can see you actually fought this addiction for your daughter, to be with that is, I mean, that's a mother's love, that's a mother's love. We have so many folks that we pass by in life that we see that are addicted, and even though they have children, that addiction is so strong that they cannot fight, for their children, and so many times you hear these children says, well, my mom loved drugs over me. She didn't fight for me. She wanted it more than me. But and addictions is strong. There's all different kind of addictions, but we see that with you in the movie that it was all about her, how you fought. You actually fought this addiction for her. And I love that. I love that. And one thing I will say to you, Jacinta, is this, that in life we all have some form of addiction. We all. Mine is shopping. in casinos. Right? Mine. Some will be prevalent than others, you know? And so you have sex addicts, you have all these different kind of people that's addicted to different things. So my hat's off to you because I cannot even understand what it's like to be addicted to drugs, but I can understand what it feels like to be addicted to shopping or going to the casino. And then when that high is over, right, from the shopping and from the casino, I'm left with myself, right? And now I had to do some introspection of finding out why is it that when I'm going through certain things in my life, why do I have to go shopping? Why do I have to go to the casino? And thank God, I'm at a better place now in my life that I realized, I said, you know what, Clover, you're losing too much money. Okay. You're getting up there in age right now. You need to kind of sit back or go take several seats in the back, right? Sit down, save your money. But so I cannot even imagine what you went through, but I love something I said to you early before we started that oftentimes when we go through certain things, we don't like the journey, but when we get to the destination, we enjoy it and then we can see the hands of God in our situation. And so I applaud you for all that you're doing. I just want to ask you one more question before we start getting into some of the juicy part of your life is how was it like to be incarcerated with your mom?
Um, I don't think I really have a descriptive word for it. I can say that being incarcerated with my mom up until most recently was the only sober experiences I had with her. So it was a bittersweet. It really sucked that we were in this like dirty, stinky, dingy, controlled environment, but it gave me an opportunity to go in the salon and do my mom's hair or actually play a game of cards with her and there not be, drugs and alcohol around it. I feel like it's a mindset, right? I can choose to feel like it was super hard to be there with my mom, or I can choose to pay attention to what was healing, I guess is a good word.
Right.
So that's kind of when I think back on it, I'm like, oh, like mom was sober, like it was cool.
Well,
And
do things with her, right?
right.
Right. Awesome. Oh my God. And now let's talk about your beautiful daughter, Kayla. How is she doing?
Kaylin, she's doing
Kaylin,
amazing.
my
Um,
apologies, Kaylin.
it's okay. She's graduating high school. She's had a partner, her first serious partner. They've been together for just over a year.
Well,
Um, they're both going for social work degrees. They're going to do separate schools, but they're going to stay local so they can commute. Kaylin is very focused. She definitely knows that she wants to be successful. She knows that, she has to have an education. She goes to work every day. It was difficult when I came home, right? Kaylin was at a really hard spot after me being gone for so long. And then coming back, she she was failing all of her classes. She was not really going to school that often. She was arguing with her grandparents. And as I stayed sober, I started noticing Kaylin, she wouldn't want to leave, right? She would come visit me and she'd be like, I don't want to go back home. And Kaylin, you have to go to school. I don't want to go to school, mom. I want to stay here. And by me being consistent with myself and being like, Kaylin, I have to go to work. I have to go to school. There's things that we need to do separately so we can eventually be at this place we want to be. Um, it was probably the hardest thing I've ever gone through is learning to be a mom to a teenager after missing so many years, right? Like you build those skills throughout the years and I just jumped full force back in. Um, but because Kaylin is super amazing and she has her own mind, she knows that she doesn't have to do what I did. She doesn't have to be in prison like her father or me. She is much easier to coach into, all right, Kaylin, if you go to school for the next week, we can go to Applebee's on the weekend, right? Like it was very little things. Or Kaylin, if the big one was she wanted to do driver's ed and Clover, money's been hard, right? I've been super successful with a lot of things, but they're not all monetary.
right.
So, um, telling Kaylin things like, okay, go to school, don't miss any days for 90 days and get a part-time job. Hold it for 90 days, right? So I gave her a 6-month goal to get her some schooling in, get some work in, gave me enough time to do the mom piece. And Kaylin has just, I feel like I'm rambling, but she's just honestly one of the most purest souls I've ever met. And she could she could resent me. She could wish that she never went through anything she went through. And instead, she adores me and admires that she's strong and has been able to overcome. And she writes about it. She talks about it. She's super, super proud of the way, she has been able to rebuild a life that is important to her, regardless of what was dealt to her.
Right, right. Oh my God. That is beautiful. I know, when I was incarcerated, I left my son. He was 18 years old. And when I came home, he was like, yeah, what, 25 or something like that? Yeah, 25. And so I remember leaving him at 18, right? And so when I came home, I wanted to treat him like he was 18, right? Because that
Mm-hmm.
my cutoff point was 18. And he would say to me, I'm not 18 anymore. I'm not 18, but all I could remember was him at 18 years old, right? So
Yeah.
it was yeah, it was really, really difficult and we struggled, right? Because he's like, you cannot come home and just expect to just walk in my life and just tell me what to do. And I'm like, who's this kid think he talking to?
Yeah.
Remember that, and then all of a sudden it felt like the roles switch, right? Now I was a child and he was a parent and telling me what to do because he was always monitoring everything I did. But I realized that he was just trying to keep me safe, to make sure that I did everything that I was supposed to do so I don't go back to prison. So prison does affect them as well. It's not only us. It has a trickling effect. It affects everyone that's involved in it, as far as your family's concerned. So I'm glad that she's doing good. She's your daughter, of course, so she is going to be successful, right? So outside of that, tell us, what are you doing now?
Doing a lot. So I told you in the beginning, I'm working at Hometown Health. I'm the director of community-based programs. Basically, what that means is anything that is for the community, I oversee. Some things I'm doing on the side personally, I'm working with a few people I'm trying to organize a gala. I want to this opportunity I've had to open the employment gates for my peers in such a high level way, right? Like we're grants managers, we're directors, we're practice coordinators, we're doing like really high level positions. I have just found a passion for it. So I'm currently trying to pull together a gala and a GoFundMe because I want to be like the employment hub for justice impacted people, both inside and out. So um, I have a friend that I did many years with, or throughout many years. We've done some time together, and she's an amazing person. And I saw an opportunity for us to utilize her in a way that would benefit her and us.
Mhm.
She's still incarcerated, and um, she is our grants manager at Hometown. And seeing her go from just a beautiful soul that, was trying to like wrap around everybody she could incarcerated, I've been able to see her like project herself onto the world. And people don't like flabbergasted that this woman is in the position she's in, and um, facilitating trainings and managing grants and funds, and all while being incarcerated, right? Fully remote. She hasn't come out. She's not community status. It's the first woman in the state of Maine that we've been able to get it done for. And I just really want to be able to see my people. I want us to be able to shine on the world. I don't want us to be shoved in the corner, right? I don't want us to be told like you have opportunities here, but you have to stay in the back, or don't talk about this. We have lived a life that has given us degrees in ways that other people aren't going to understand. And we have both, right? Like we have bachelor's degrees and then we have experience degrees. So we have both sides of the world. And um, I really just want to be able to show people I didn't possess anything that they don't. So where I am is capable for anybody to be at, right? It was just, I had to put my mind to it. I had to stay focused. And that's the skill I want to teach people as they're re-entering. I want them to be able to come and say, I have a passion for this, and me be able to show them how to condition it or channel it into something that is going to be successful. And it's it's still early on in the process, but I think about it and I see what we've already done with the men and women now getting into employment. And it's honestly just a group of us who we're all trying to figure out, where are we going to work? How are we going to live? Right? Like in the state of Maine, it's so hard. I've been, I haven't been charged with a crime in over 7 years. I've been sober for 4, and I live my life as an honest, productive piece of society. And I have landlords that won't rent to me. I have people that won't honor my degrees, like I didn't earn it like the rest of you. I have been turned down for so many different things that I wouldn't even, I'm medical assistant schooling right now. I wanted to do it just like expand my horizon to find out, because I have drug charges, I'll never be able to practice. So it's so discouraging when you work so hard behind the walls to come out and feel like you're going to have this opportunity that it's not so easily accessible as people make it out to be. And that's, that's really what I want to do. I want people to understand that I struggled my way through. I cried and I was shut down and I was on housing and food stamps. And, there was times I was borrowing money to be able to drive to visit Kaylin. Like, I didn't get out and have this film and this, great path paven. I worked really, really hard, and I don't want everybody else to have to come out and do the same work. I did it once, right? Like, let's patent it. Let's put it on paper. Let's not have to make those mistakes again. And um, I love, I love that I have had the experiences I've had, but I really feel like if I had a little more support, a little more resources, that maybe things wouldn't have been so difficult. I wouldn't have had to fall down and get picked back up. Clover, how many times have I called you, like, just in desperation, trying to figure out, like, what is the next move? How do I make it when I feel like it took everything in me to get to where I was, to only end up at a, dead end or a brick wall? Finding that courage to climb that wall or to jump over the cliff and, hope that it's not, a hole. I I want to start those bridges and those pathways. Like, it's so important for people coming out to see that, we only have to make the mistake once. If we let the rest know that are coming behind us, we're now, right? Every time somebody comes out, we're setting them out on success.
Right. You know, first of all, let me say congratulations on being sober free for 4 years. That's quite an accomplishment. So kudos to you. Um, I get what you're saying. I understand. Know this, that it's not only in Maine, it's all over. And I
Mm-hmm.
believe that as formerly incarcerated, whether women or men, it's time for us to change the monopoly, right, of how we are looked at. We're equally qualified, right? We are equally smart, right? And, prison does not define who we are. We all make mistakes. Some are caught, some are not, right? And I always believe that the ones that have not been caught, those are the ones that need to watch out for, right? Because they're good. They're really, really good. But yeah, we work hard, and it's almost like we have to constantly prove ourselves because we made a mistake. And in the Bible, I read about all these different abominations, right? Nowhere in the Bible I see that being formerly incarcerated is an abomination. But that's how society want us to be treated, like we are an abomination. And if you go to prison, then you come out, you cannot be a part of society, right? So they want to exclude us. They want to scrutinize everything that we do. Everyone makes mistake. Everyone makes mistake. In the Bible, God made provision for Cain, uh, he did, and so I don't understand why is it that we have to be treated in such a way when we make a mistake. No one is perfect. The perfect one is no one
Right.
on earth, right? And we shouldn't even be put in a position that, oh, you know what? Let's give them a second chance. No, let's give us grace. Grace. Every morning when we wake up, we are offered grace, grace on top of grace on top of grace, and we're given that grace by God, right? And so it is up to us to offer grace to everyone. It does not matter what. And you want to think that people should be loving. So when they see someone is struggling, they want to just console them and say, how can I help them? But unfortunately, society is not like that. And I want you to continue to use or your situation as a springboard, okay, to success, and continue to reach out and continue to help as many people as you can, because at the end of the day, you have been through so much. Don't let, because of society, dim your light. If you want to help people, continue to help people. And, you know, when someone say to you, or, well, you have been incarcerated or you've been addicted to drugs, you ask them, and what have you been incarcerated to? Because you can be walking around, and even though you're not physically in a jail, mentally you're in a jail. What is your addiction?
Right.
What is your addiction? How are you incarcerated? Please don't judge me. Okay. I made
Yeah.
a mistake, and that's it. And you have to be bold about that. And it doesn't matter because they already have their preset, their minds, about how they feel about you. So speak up about it. What's the difference? Speak up about it. And
Yeah.
it's sad that you're going through this.
Well, to backtrack a little bit, I want to make a comment on about what we're talking about in the Bible is I I was addicted to heroin. I was an IV heroin user. And when I first got sober, everyone kept telling me, like, you're never going to make it if you don't take Suboxone. You're never going to make it if you don't take
Right.
methadone. So um, I chose to take my chances and
Mhm.
I went with God and faith-based
Right.
is my recovery. And I'm consistently explaining to people, right? Like they're like, why are we being oppressed? Like, why do people hate formerly incarcerated people? I don't want to say hate, right? That's not a great word. But
Uh-huh.
why do they push us out? Why can't they accept us? And we are Jesus, right? Like
Right.
Jesus
Right.
was pushed out. Jesus was considered a criminal, right? He was going
Hmm.
against the laws, and all of his apostles and things like that. Who are they? Murderers, cheaters.
Right.
He was showing us what the world was going to do to us. We, the special ones, are the ones that are the ones that were directly affected. He put us there so we could overcome, right? He put us there so we could watch his path and we could do and overcome the same things he did.
Right.
So
Right.
how can the most powerful man, the most amazing, genuine person in the world, right, ever exist? How can he also be shunned and then loved and honored? Because that's what we do, right?
Right.
We're supposed to get thrown down and I don't want to say shit on, but we're supposed to have these experiences that other people don't get to have, and they can look at us however they want. But what we come out with after those experiences is so much more than they'll ever possess because they've never had the opportunity to have to want, work, suffer
Mhm.
this,
Mhm.
right? Like I'm the blessing. I tell
Right.
people all the time, you can hate me or you can disagree with whatever choices that I've made, things I've gone through. But at the end of the day, I'm the blessing. I am the blessing. You can't take
Say
that.
that again. Say that again. Yes.
You can't,
Say
right? Like
that. Yes.
God loved me. He put me through some things that I learned from, but at the end of the day, I'm beautiful, I'm healthy, I'm smart, my children are here, I have faith. I am never going to feel ever again like I'm not good enough. I'm never going to allow somebody who hasn't been able to, you haven't never had to deal with what I've had to deal with, right? The things of like, I was trafficked as a child and I still think about there's somebody that's had it worse, right? There's other kids that didn't make it out. There's other children who there wasn't a savior to come in and scoop them. Again, I have been blessed, but I also get to go back and I get to make sure that other children aren't being affected, right? I get to be that person that can look at a 12-year-old and say, I get it, right? Like my innocence was stolen. Those are gifts. Those are things that I'm able to give back to the world, but I'm also able to feel joy from. You don't need to pay me for them. There's nobody that can take it from me. That's in my heart and soul. And God does that. God showed us, He showed me, Jacinta, they're going to kick you down. They're going to make you feel like you're dead. But you know what? Stay down for 2 or 3 days, build yourself back up. You're going to rise again. I didn't have to figure these things out. The Bible told me how to get out. I just had to be able to, I had to be able to have somebody explain the word to me, break it down to me, make me feel strong.
Mhm.
And, it was written for me. And I don't know, I'm super grateful for my life, Clover. There's so many things in different ways that things could have turned out. And it's not perfect. I still work and struggle day to day, right? It's not, but I'm a person who is able to appreciate all that I've been through and know that I'm not tainted goods. I'm not at all, right? Like I don't have to feel that way. So when people don't want to hire me, it's their loss.
It's their
You don't want
loss.
to rent your apartment, your loss, right?
No,
But
there you
it's so
go.
hard to get through those times to be able to I didn't come out saying, if you don't like me, too bad. It took a lot of like, why am I not good enough? Why aren't people accepting me? To realize only one can judge me. So
Right,
if that interview didn't go great, your judgment means nothing because there's another one at the end of the day. I only have one judgment day and I know where I'm going and I
right.
know to them.
Oh, okay now, girl. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes. Always, this is what carries me through. So when I was incarcerated, I never thought about getting a job because I'm like, okay, I've never really worked for anyone. Most of my life, I've been self-employed. So, and I just knew that when I came out, I wasn't going to struggle to get any jobs, and I didn't. So that was good. But one of the things I kind of held on to is when I read in the Bible how God had made provision, right? For Cain when he killed Abel, right? He made provision from, he says, I'm going to put a mark on you, right? That no one should hurt you, that no one will hurt you. And it also shows in the Bible, he speaks about in the Bible how he says, visit those that are incarcerated, right? Setting the prisoners free. But we as a society, we want to take the word of God and we want to manipulate it and turn it around in another way because we don't like certain things that certain people do. And it's okay because the Bible also says the same measure that you judge someone, that's the same measure how God is going to judge you as well. So we want to pray for those people that we come in contact with that shun us, right? Because we already know how they are going to be judged. But I want you to continue to rise like the phoenix bird, right? Just rise. And I see that you're doing so many great things. Do not let anyone, you know, steal your thunder, like Glenn Martin said. Or no, he said steal your rainbow. But don't ever let anyone rob you of that because you know that you're here for a bigger purpose. And I'm going to tell you why I know that of all that you have been through, think about how many people have overdosed, right? Think about how many people that you may know or you may have heard of that have been addicted to drugs and didn't make it. How many people have been incarcerated and something happened to them while they're incarcerated and did not make it? So, which you and all that you have gone through, you are here for a reason. Now you have to now find what your purpose is. And I think that you did, right? I believe that you did. And so you hold on to it, you claim it, right? And then says, now, God, what is it now that you want me to do? Just lead, because I am going to have stumbling blocks. And some of these stumbling blocks are these barriers that we go through as a person that have been convicted of a crime, right? I think there's 40,000 barriers, right? But we have to continue to leap over these barriers. We cannot allow those barriers, even though they're in place, to be our impediment. We know who we are. We know who we belong to. We know what we have been through. And if you have been through all of that, know that these barriers that set forth, now you're going to have to use your voice, right? Your activism, and change those barriers. So the next generation don't have to go through what you have gone through and what I have gone through. So continue to rise, continue to rise. And I cannot say it more than I have said it. I am super proud of you. And I love what it says in your documentary. It's the tagline, hope cannot be confounded. It cannot. We find hope from God, and God cannot be confined at all. And if God cannot be, who are we? We are made
Right.
in His image, so we cannot be confined as well. And so do not let the situation, um, hold you hostage. It's already done, Jacinta. There is nothing that you can do to change the past. The only thing that you can do now is how you operate going forward. That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. So, and I know that you're going to do some great things. There's a lady that I just recently spoke to, and she wants to do something with me, and I think that you will be perfect for this. So I am going to definitely loop you into that conversation, and just to because we're going to make an impact on the world. We are definitely going to make an impact on the world. I thank you so much. And I'm just grateful for this time that you take to be with me on Converse with Clover. So,
Thank you for
any
having me.
final thoughts?
Um, I guess I just really want to give a shout out to anybody who is struggling with anything right now and just know that, we're never alone with or without God, wherever you stand. Just know the universe, He's built it safe and you can trust, and it's not all pain. We're going to have some experiences, but believe in yourself, faith and hope. It really truly lives within. And if God isn't your thing, find a higher power, because he can be anything you want him to be, right? If my TV remote brings me comfort, if it's hard for me to say that God is God, then he's going to put the energy into what it takes to get me to where I need to be. So just don't be afraid to believe in yourself, take chances, ask for help, show who you are, shine your light, don't be dull for anybody or anything.
Awesome. Awesome. That's powerful. And so I know that you're doing this gala. You will give me the information and I will put it into the chat. And
Yes.
so people can actually reach out to you, right?
Yes.
Reference to the gala. And to the audience, check out Jacinta Hope Cannot Be Confined on HULU. It's an amazing, amazing documentary. But before you go, one thing, when are you gonna do a book? When?
Wow. Fans have been blowing me up the past couple weeks about a.
Okay, I guess Jacinta got cut off. Well, thank you so much for watching Clover, Converse with Clover, and check out Jacinta Hope Cannot Be Confound on HULU. Until we see you next time. Thank you and God bless.